look like you already had some. Did you get into Mommy's smoothie? Did you eat Mommy's smoothie? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Thanks so good.
Is it good? Did you eat Mama's smoothie too? You did? So this is kind of the precursor to breakfast. This is what we give the kids when they wake up hungry, huh?
Yeah,
Say, feed me now, Mom. Mellie moo. Where's your smoothie? Hi, honey. Runaway salsa. We switched to Dave's Killer Bread. Dave's Killer Bread is organic. It has a really great story behind it too. Burris actually loves this story a lot, so get the bag and read it because it's super good. But it is all organic ingredients that you can read. So that was a big thing for us sparking joy with food, was we ditched anything that had a chemical that we couldn't pronounce the name to, and we switched to only ingredients that we could read and understand. This morning we're having eggs. We've been doing eggs probably once a week now instead of once a day. That was like my go-to thing. And we also ditched dairy. This was the last thing of dairy to go. We're having eggs, fruit. The kids had a smoothie. That's what I give them in the morning to kind of hold them over while they're anxiously awaiting to break their fast. My breakfast looks a lot different than the kids' breakfast. I love stuff like this. We make our own tortillas. Well, no, we cook the tortillas. We buy uncooked tortilla. And then I slather hummus and spinach and avocado, and I'll just fold it over like this. And then I am a huge hoarder of the plant-based mac and cheese, and so I reheated this, and it's gonna go right in my belly.
So all this healthy eating is very, very nice. One thing that I have enjoyed was I haven't had heartburn in probably 2 months, because we started doing this a little bit gradually, but we just went head first when Tana came over. So I could tell the difference between eating a butt ton of meat and kind of backing that off. So we still eat meat, but it's like little portions and not every night. It's a little bit different. All that to say, Tana is going to come over tonight, and she's going to discuss some of the things that some of the changes that we've made, some of the things that we're doing, and why that's helpful for us and why that's helpful for families. She's got a pretty good sized family too, so she does this with her family and it works. It's worked with our family, so it's very, very nice. How to spark joy in the food department. All right. So we've got kids in the background. If they're loud, we apologize. Let's do this.
Sorry,
Let's do this.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
So, first of all, thanks for coming over and chatting with us, and thank you so much for coming over when we raided our pantry. Thanks for not being judgmental.
This is Tana, by the way.
This is Tana.
Hey, yo.
If you go to our Facebook page and search through our purging of our pantry, you'll see what she did.
We'll put a link here somewhere.
Yeah.
Gable.
So we've been on this quest of freedom for a few months now, like 2, when I say a few, maybe almost 3. But we started, we actually came across another YouTube family who read a book called Spark Joy.
Yep.
And we were really interested in that. And we had this stirring of anxiety already happening in our house. And for me, I got to the point where I was taking buckets of clothes upstairs that were clean, but I was coming down and with as much clothes as I brought up that were clean to come down and be washed. And it started out as a frustration on my end because I was just not slaying the laundry. I was just really bogged down and was wondering if there was freedom in regards to being able to bring a task to completion. And so that spiraled into this whole quest of purging tons of material things. And when one area of freedom comes to light, other areas of freedom follow right in its path. Like if I'm feeling this bogged down right now, what's going on? And so probably about a year, like I said, I ignored this pull to make a change for my family, knowing like I would prep breakfast for the kids and it would be pancakes, butter, sugar on top of that, plus milk, plus yogurt, plus berries. I mean, it was just like overload. And then for lunch, I would make peas, I would make broccoli, but I would make the mac and cheese. They would eat the mac and cheese and they would skip out all the veggies. So I would make it just to make myself feel good. Tell everybody what you do for a living. Like, what is your heartbeat? What is your niche?
So I'm home manager. That's what I do. Mostly part-time. And I bring my 4-year-old son with me. And my goal in going into this was I want to create more room for families to have family time. Most of the families I know are dual income with children, and they get to their weekend. If they're lucky, they can get to church if that's something that they do. And if that's not even something they do, they're running their errands, they're getting their groceries, they're doing laundry, and they're playing catch up. And there is 0 time for families. And so I just really had this heart for families and helping them out to create space on the weekends for joy and for freedom and for love. And I go once a week to a client's house. This is typically what I do. So typically I go to a client's house and it's very tailored to them, and I do their entire to-do list. Like I went yesterday to a client's house and I cooked 3 meals all the way through for them. Chopped up veggies.
Just like think about that for a second. She cooked 3 meals.
Yeah, in one night or one day.
And now I'm kind of branching into, I've had a couple of people, not just you guys, but a couple of other friends just ask for a complete renewing of their minds, renewing of their kitchen, renewing of their bodies through food, and how to even think about that. Disclaimer, I am not educated in this area as far as I did not go to school for this.
But tell them a little bit about your background, because I do feel like your upbringing
certifies you.
It means you have a valid voice because it's all you've known, right?
It's all I've known. I grew up on a farm in Iowa with I would say, a mom that was more in tune with natural eating, just because my dad hadn't had that opportunity yet. And now of course he has, being married to my mom. But my mom grew up on a dairy farm, and her dad was having horrible arthritis problems. And as a farmer, you can't do that. You have to be in the fields, you have to be welding, you have to be fixing tractors. You can't have arthritis and be a farmer. He was going to the doctors and they were saying, I'm sorry, there's nothing really that we can do. You can pop a few Advil every day, but there's nothing we can do. You have a sense of drive and will and a get it done attitude.
A holy stubbornness.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe not so holy sometimes. He said no when my mom was in high school, and they drove. Where did they? I think they went to Kentucky to a naturopathic doctor there. Yeah, and this is back. So, I mean, my mom was in high school, so like
Wow.
60s.
So they were green before
Yeah,
green was cool.
I mean, before my mom was the original granola. That's what I was saying. Like, I come from granola. And the guy took them off all dairy. They're dairy farmers, all dairy, and they were getting it straight from the cow. Talking like as fresh as it gets.
Yeah. P.S. You can't have that.
Right. So he took them off all dairy, which was hell. All white flour, all white sugar, and had them start drinking glug, which is water, local, raw, unfiltered honey, and brag apple cider vinegar.
It tastes really good, by the way.
All mixed together.
Yeah.
Anyways, my mom saw a huge change in my grandpa. He went back completely cured of arthritis. There was no sign in his body. And the doctors were like, we don't know what happened. And he was like, well, I changed my diet. And they were like, yeah, that's not it. My mom had a lot of acne at the time as well.
Oh, wow.
That completely cleared up after she got off of all that. And she quit wearing base as well. She said, like, she quit wearing base to cover up the stuff.
Okay.
So she was letting her skin breathe, but also everything else. Just like her acne was gone. When I grew up with, my mom had a garden, and we did eat meat, but it was all like we
Portion,
raised.
small portion.
It wasn't as small as I do now. It was still pretty large, but I mean, it was all fresh.
Yeah. We invited Tana over here. It was like 4 weeks ago now. I think it's been almost a month. And we invited Tana over here to go through our pantry and go through our fridge. You'd actually asked me to watch the documentary, Forks Over Knives, and I watched it twice.
I actually watched this movie, what was it, a year ago?
It was longer than that. We lived in the cabin.
Right. So, and then, like, this time around, I was like, I almost had this,
You weren't ready then.
I wasn't ready.
You wasn't ready.
But at the same time, it was kind of a trick. It was like, okay, I already know what I should be doing.
Right.
So I don't really need to watch this. I mean, it is helpful. I should have watched it, but I was rebellious. But I was rebellious because I knew what I should have been doing all along, and I never did it.
Didn't want to talk about it.
Didn't want to talk about it.
Like, don't.
I didn't want to take notes, Tana.
Just take the damn notes. Yeah. She was all
So-
while texting me. Did Burris watch it yet? And I was like, other people who have been interested in doing what we've done, which is we went through our pantry, pulled everything out that we didn't recognize the ingredients of, and then we also pulled out everything that the ingredients had been tampered with or weren't organic. And so we, one of the questions were, how did you go about it? Did you finish the junk food and not replace it, or just chucked it all? What are you considering good food?
I kept the Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
I kept
it's
it.
still in the. It's still. In the
I kept
garage.
it, and I made the decision to be like, okay, on Sundays when there's football, I'm gonna drink one Dr. Pepper.
And you haven't even had one.
And I haven't actually, like, maybe I'm lazy and I just don't want to go to the cold garage.
We chucked it.
We
Yeah.
chucked everything.
You did. Okay, because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, because I know at
Food
the
and
end,
food. Yeah. Well,
You
I
were
was
like, what are we
am I
gonna
have?
eat?
Yeah.
what are we going to eat
Yeah.
in the
That was
morning?
the
What are
question.
we, like,
Yeah.
Like,
And
we
there
kept
was panic.
like
Yeah.
the grits that we just bought.
Yeah,
It was hard.
We
It
kept
was
that,
hard.
but it's still unopened
Yeah.
in our pantry.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally a comfort thing for a second.
So,
Yeah.
like, we had just went to the grocery store and purchased a bunch of food.
like the day before, right?
Like, the day before.
Oh, my Lord.
It was the
What?
day before. We
Yeah.
bought a bunch of food the day before.
This is a sensitive
And then
moment
we
for
did
me.
this.
I spent $275. What day did you come over?
I came over on a Tuesday night.
Monday night. I had gone and went out and hunted and gathered.
Yeah.
That's what I call going to the grocery store. 'Cause
and then we tossed it.
I think what I fixed for breakfast.
Did you have the tofu scramble?
Yes.
Okay.
The kids ate that. That's right.
Because I made
They
tofu
had
scramble
tofu
that day.
scramble, and we did have those tortillas because we liked the tortillas.
Yeah.
So we were okay. And then the next day, but the thing is, I had already budgeted that $275 was our budget for the week, and we threw away 3/4 of what we brought home.
Do you
So
feel bad?
I don't think he was worried about it as much.
I
as
didn't.
was.
I didn't really worry about it because like we've been doing this whole Spark Joy thing, and it didn't like. I mean, there was some like because I love fast food. I should totally go get a Wendy's chicken sandwich because those things I could live off those things. Those things are amazing. I kept on thinking like, wow, if I really want joy in my life, what do I need? Will this Wendy's put joy in my life? Or will actually...
That's hard. I mean, that doesn't get any deeper than that.
You see the fast food signs and you feel it. But it's like, do I want this?
One of my favorite questions that Tana asks, why are you settling for crap food?
Yeah.
Like, you are far more valuable than that. Like, and your taste buds were meant to enjoy and savor the deliciousness of every single ingredient.
So like I'm the easy guy. Like I'm the have fun, convenience, fun-loving guy who likes to party all the time. Well,
I'm on that island with you.
right. And so like
But I also
The
don't. I'm
pe-
not easy. Just like the fun,
Yeah.
carefree. That's
yeah,
it.
like I want things easy. And so what's easy and convenient? Not having to cook,
But the lie
Yeah.
is
not having to cut.
you feeling like crap is not making your life easy. How did we go about it? That was a great question. How we went about it. Did we finish our junk food or did we replace it? Did we just throw it out? We threw it all away. We went to our pantry and we felt the weight of throwing it away.
Give you a background here. Me and Les do not do anything slowly.
No. When we're in,
We're in.
we're in.
But I didn't chuck the milk, but I didn't drink it either.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like this grieving process. Like
Yeah, what was that like?
I'm just gonna leave you in there. I'm gonna watch you. You know, my little baby.
I kept asking him to, can I throw this milk away now? And he was like, no.
Nope.
And I was like, oh, okay.
I think
Good job honoring him.
And I was like,
waiting,
okay,
because
do you, but I did snarkily say, are you going to drink it? He's like, it doesn't matter. Just leave it in there. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
I mean, it takes up like this much room, but I'll leave it.
It did. It took up a lot of
And
room.
And the kids kept asking for it.
Didn't you ask him to research?
They were talking about it.
True.
They were talking about
Really
how
fast.
calcium strips, the milk strips your calcium out of your bones.
Yes.
To digest it.
The milk
In order to
strips
Mhm.
calcium from your bones. And then I was like,
I better Google that.
yeah, I'm
That was good.
I'm gonna do my research
He did.
because
Good. Good
by
job.
golly, I went all my life watching that stupid pyramid, the
Totally.
food pyramid,
Stupid pyramid.
and I don't want to.
Pyramids are bad.
I don't want to
okay?
cuss right now, and I'm not. I just. But the got milk commercials is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so
It
like
is.
it's like crazy.
It
So
is.
anyway, having said that, I went and did my research. And what did I find? Well, I actually went to do the research to try to
Attack the
debunk
girls.
it.
Good.
Debunk
I
it.
love it.
Because I was like,
It.
this is not true. This can't be true. So I started, I had my phone and I'm like, and all of a sudden,
It was amazing.
I found the first article. And the article was freaking deceiving because it said, the myth behind milk taking your calcium.
And he was like, oh,
And I was
here's
like, this
mine.
is it.
This is it.
This is
I'm
it.
totally going to
This
nail
is
her.
so funny. It really is.
It was
That's
total
amazing.
clickbait.
The myth
That's awesome.
behind milk
amazing.
taking your
That's
calcium.
amazing.
And so I was like, oh, this is an article about the
I'm
myth.
going to win.
Well,
Gonna
I
keep
read
my
it,
milk.
and what really won me over is the article was really gracious, but the cool thing about the article, it had this one question that changed me, and it was this. Why do calves drink milk from their mom for a period of time, and then they're weaned, and they don't go back to the udder for the rest of their life? Why do animals breastfeed until a certain point, and then they stop? And then we're the only ones that actually go back to it. We're the only ones on the planet. That's not milk. Who drink milk all the time. We shouldn't be drinking milk as adults.
Right. One of the questions was, speaking of cutting out dairy, what was detox like for the kids and how long did it last? And I did text you about 3 days after we did the purge, and
I was like, "How are you
guys doing?" And physically we were feeling okay, but I had 2 kids, my 2 kids who had eczema, mind you, who were running fevers.
You texted me like when he has a fever, and I was like, "You're like, yeah." I was like, "Yeah," because his body's burning up all the toxins. You're giving him food to fight now all the toxins and junk that's in his body, and that's what it's doing. Yeah, it's burning it all up.
Detoxing, it could happen, especially if your kids have been eating crap for a long time. It happened to 2 out of 4 of my kids, but those same kids who had eczema are now cleared up of their eczema and they're not running fevers anymore. So that was a huge win for us. And just so you know, your kids will go to the pantry. If they're used to going to the pantry, going to the fridge, I mean, my kids didn't know what to do while we were switching our diet around, which leads me into the next question is, somebody asked me, did you cut out snacking as a family? And the answer to that is yes. We were snacking so much that my kids, when it came to dinner time, wouldn't sit and eat. And so you are the one that said, hey, we don't snack. And I was like, why? So tell them what you told me about snacking and why you don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't grow up snacking. We didn't snack.
You lived on a farm.
I mean, we ate 3 meals, and they were big, hearty, like, delicious. We home grew our stuff, and everything else was bought at the co-op pretty much. We just didn't snack. The only thing I can remember as a kid is my mom she still has it, like this thing of dates, almonds, walnuts, raisins, like this thing that we kept in a cupboard. And if we were hungry on the rare chance, we would just go grab a few dates and almonds and raisins and like eat that, and that was it. Like, and
but it wasn't like a continually you were walking around and your mom had snacks in her pocket.
I just didn't grow up snacking, so it wasn't a part of. So there's this block in my brain of like, if my kids are hungry between meals, they probably haven't drank enough water. And so that's what I would always tell them, like, well, if you're hungry, go finish your bottle of water and then we'll fill it back up and you can wait until mealtime, because I'm going to spend at least an hour in the kitchen, so you better be hungry when you come to this table. So it just felt like a huge burden of like, what do we bring with us, and like, what should we have, and like,
huge for us. When
it
you
sounded
told
horrible,
me,
so I just was like, no,
listen,
I don't do that.
I felt like you gave me a permission slip as a mom to not snack, and I was like, praise the Lord, because I'm telling you what, we would pack snacks, drinks, all these things to go in the car with us.
It was a hassle.
And it was, yeah. And the thing is, the kids would say, Mom, what are we going to eat?
Yeah, right.
Like, we'd be flinging stuff all the time. We cut out snacking completely. We don't buy goldfish. It's not even what the snack was anymore, obviously, because we ditched our pantry. We're only buying real ingredients, so those things already went. But even if my kids are hungry, we are saying, hey, do you want some water? Or they're really excited for lunch. What's for lunch? Yeah. And now everything I put in front of them, they're like gobbling. They're like gobbling it up. And it's not because they're hungry. They're hungry, but not the kind of withhold hunger.
They're accustomed.
It's totally different.
It's kind of like the fast food and real food. Like, they don't get goldfish anymore, so their tongues are used to eating celery and carrots and soup and all good stuff.
And someone asked about like breastfeeding or something and snacking while breastfeeding, and I did.
Oh, yeah.
So when I was pregnant and when I nursed, I was hungry more often because your body is
making a human.
Yeah. So I did eat every 2 hours.
Yeah.
Are the kids actually just eating 3 meals a day?
Yes. Our kids are eating just 3 meals a day, and they're
this is a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
it is a miracle.
They come to the table hungry
and happy, because I feel like it's become this place of anger and frustration, and people can't even get their kids to sit down at the table.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean?
Hold on one second.
Yeah. Too loud.
So it's my mom.
Addie, too loud.
Hey, so I got a question for you. All right, so what did we grow up eating as a kid?
Beans and cornbread, potatoes,
And
chicken.
chicken? And did we ever snack?
Did y'all ate apples?
We ate apples for snack
Apples, oranges,
and oranges,
fruit.
fruit.
Didn't get much candy junk.
We didn't get much candy junk. I like it.
Good job, Mama.
So this is my mom.
You get a high five from me.
This is my mom.
What are you doing? Don't you be recording me while I live? I'll kick your butt.
So anyway, I'm doing a vlog. Can I call you back later?
I'm gonna beat you and put me on that thing looking very good.
All right. Say hi.
I'll kill you, man, you
This is true for most people, that mealtime is horrible. But I do think snacks are only aiding that. Did you guys have detox? As far as
that was one of the
antsy?
questions.
But I mean,
too.
did you guys have were you antsy or what were your
Yeah.
physical or mental or emotional? What did that? Talk about that. I'm curious. What was your detox like?
Man, it was just. I guess I'd have to go back to we had a Christmas party and I ate a ton of barbecue. After the fact, I felt like crap. I actually felt it. Before we did this barbecue, I would eat that or whatever junk, and it was like the norm. I'm full.
Right.
Right?
I felt like crap, but I always feel like
I'm full.
crap.
Yeah.
Well, you don't even know. I didn't even know that was crap.
Yeah. So
I felt good.
right.
I felt normal.
Right. And so after doing the plant-based and then going to the Christmas party, after eating that, I was like, oh my gosh, my ribs literally hurt.
That's crazy. He did
hurt.
come home and I was like, did you gorge? And he was like, yeah.
Yes.
I was like, are you paying for it? And he's like, yeah.
It was amazing. I love barbecue. But anyway, I felt it. And I asked myself the question, does what I feel, is this what joy is? Is this what joy feels like? I mean, I'm still asking that question. What does joy feel like in everything that we do? And that was not one of them.
I almost feel like that's a huge part of the process that needs to happen.
Yeah.
I did the same thing, and I've been doing plant-based for 4 years, and I did the same thing with a block of cheese, a month ago. And I was like,
Oh, that's what that feels
right,
like.
I forgot that this is what that feels like.
And Snickers.
I need a Snickers,
need Snickers. I was like,
a
wait.
Twix,
we
an Almond
need
Joy,
something.
whatever.
And I was like, maybe you just need to sit in that for a second. I
Is that what you
really-
said?
Yeah.
And what,
And
what was
he-
your response?
Well,
3
my
minutes later,
response
you
was,
said, never mind.
never mind. I'll drink some coffee.
Yeah,
And so I
he
did. I
We made a
drank.
cup
I
of
drank
coffee.
coffee. And
So my detox was not. Mine was emotional.
Okay.
I've always wanted to eat healthy. Even he used to laugh at me because I would make lima beans and all these frozen vegetables over rice, whatever. I love eating that way. But he never did. And so that was always our tension, even in our. But my detox looked more. I felt the weight not of me. I was so distracted by watching my family detox that I didn't really have any physical manifestations of detoxing. For me, it was an emotional. It was hard to watch my kids pace and ask for snacks and pace, and then I would put down this meal, and they would look at me like, what is that? What is that? And they were mad. And a couple times they were like, I'll eat the applesauce. And then they would eat the applesauce. But then come next mealtime, they were starving.
Because you
And
didn't
then
snack.
we didn't snack, and they didn't eat. So there were a couple meals that they wouldn't eat. And I was just telling a friend today, that's normal. And my kids are not going hungry. My kids are detoxing. And that was something that I had to remind myself over and over and over again is, hey, I'm not starving my kids. I'm retraining their palate so they'll be ready for good food. And I mean, I'm telling you, it is a difficult 3 days at least. At least it was for us. But once that 3 days is over, like I said last week, when Averie told me that her butternut squash tasted like candy, I was like, this is amazing. You know,
And the fact that she's
broccoli,
getting kale
kale
chips and shoving them in their face.
and eating like plant-based macaroni stuff. And they do, like last night we had chicken, and they were like, we're having chicken.
Yeah,
And my kids,
they were excited.
they were like, wow.
They're usually
you
like,
know?
what is
Before
this?
they'd be like,
What
That's
is
how my
this?
kids are with me.
Yeah.
They're like, what is this?
So like we didn't
It's
cut out
chicken.
we didn't cut out meat
Chicken.
completely, but we hadn't had meat in like 3 weeks, so they were like, this is amazing. And then also like we do have a treat together as a family. So Saturday night we went and got like
So
a little
fun.
cake or whatever,
Right.
and from the grocery store or whatever, and we all sat here together with a fork and we had it as a family. And
Which
they
is-
had
that is
so
beautiful.
much fun.
That like makes me want to cry because that's bringing the sacredness and the joy and family all eating and
Yeah.
being
And
excited.
they were
about-
laughing
Yeah.
so hard.
Gosh, that's so
Yeah.
great.
It's
They were
pretty cool.
like, and like they were kind of wanting to fight each other for it, but they knew they hadn't had treats in so long that they were kind of like, no, you can have that. No, but I really want it. Like you could just tell, like,
Nobody was talking, actually.
no, it was like they all just were like, nah. But it was,
amazing.
it wasn't their own
Yeah.
individual like need it to survive. It was like, this is something that's special, and so that's really worked for us.
That
It's a
was
trick
cool.
to stick in your back pocket, and Tana gave us that idea too. Is like, hey, you know, do a treat once a week.
You have to go into a different place and ask better questions. Why do I feel like I need something? Why do I need a Snickers? Why do I feel like I need this? Why am I not happy with what I have in front of me?
Yeah.
With what God has given me, with what's here and good, and I know I'll feel good after I eat it.
Yeah.
Why don't I want to do that? I think
Good.
those are other questions that you need to ask yourself.
Yeah, and so that kind of goes into the other question of how does making this switch from on the go, quick convenience food, fast food, middle aisle grocery store food, how does making that switch help a family who's on the go? Like, how can a family who is always on the go? What if you leave from 7 in the morning and you take your kids to daycare and everybody's gone until 5, 6 o'clock at night, and then they have activities from 6 to 8:30 p.m. and then they don't get home. They have to do baths and they have to do homework. And so
You probably need to dwindle your schedule down a little bit. Like, cut out the soccer games a little bit. Yeah, your kid might enjoy it, but do you have time, quality time?
there is something to be said for a family. And this is a personal conviction that happened. I was just showing Tana my journal back in October. I just had this, was it September?
Mm-hmm.
So back in September, I just had this revelation that, hey, there's something really sacred that happens around the table. And I wasn't treating mealtime as an act of worship for our family. There's this real realization that happens around the dinner table that we are completely needy, hungry people. And when people come to the table to eat because they need nourishment, if we're exchanging, there's this sacred thing that happens around the table. And our question back in September was, if I feel that preparing food for my family or us preparing food together, it's not just something that's on me, but if we are seeing that as a nuisance, we are missing the mark as a family. And so I just sat down and just had this revelation of like, hey, if I continue to dislike cooking and providing for my family, and we don't sit around at the table and I'm too busy to interact with my kids that way, like what is the trajectory in 20 years? What is my family going to look like? Will they want to hang around the table? Will they want to do things in the kitchen? Like, I feel like a lot of good conversation happens in the kitchen. And I was treating it as though this is a nuisance. And so that brought me back around to saying, wow, don't lose the value, how important you are and how important your tribe is and how sacred it is to prepare a meal, to go through. People say that you're too busy to prepare a meal, but perhaps you've taken the value away from how important it is to prepare a meal.
What is
put it on.
value?
If it's a lot of work, then it shows you that provision is a lot of work. Like, just even if you're not a person of faith, you have to recognize that there is something to be said of, if it takes that much to prepare it, if it takes that much for you to sit down and savor it and really enjoy it, how important it really is. It's a human need. You can't be without food.
Yeah, what are your values?
Yeah, I think
that's
it's a deeper question of, if you're too busy to make good food, then you have to ask, well, what are we busy with? Write it out. Sit down with your kids. Say, what do we do throughout our week? Write it out. Make it. It can be something that's fun. You can have these conversations with your kids, with your family, and it's not gonna be easy. Like, it doesn't. This didn't come super easy to them, and so I think it really is deeper questions of, what are you busy with? Why are you so busy? What are you chasing? Is it admiration from other people, admiration from yourself that you're being a good parent because your kid is in 7 things? I totally get that. I live here.
I'm pulled there.
I live here
that
in
all the
America
time.
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Okay? Like,
In Colorado, I just saw that
Yeah.
like we are the biggest state for like the sports that we have. Like we have
Totally.
so many sports in Colorado.
you can do everything because the mountains are here, and
Lacrosse,
and
everything.
active is so great.
Yeah.
But what happens is we take it and we put it all over here. Being active, then you won't be unhealthy. Active is everything. It will keep you out of trouble. Blah blah blah. Active. And then we're missing the sacredness, so we're not valuing what is here. We eat at least 3 times a day. There is nothing else that I can figure out that we do that often. I mean, other than like breathing, your heart beating. Don't be silly.
It's so
But
true.
like, what do? Your whole family, you all do it at least 3 times a day. If that is happening, even if you only zone in on this area of your life for the next 10 years, I feel like there's so much, like, let's make our tables sacred again.
Yeah.
And not again, because they already are. We're just doing this to it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Totally.
I don't have time because I've taken the value off of here and I've thrown it away and I'm going out the door
To chase something.
else.
Yeah.
I have a fear. I'm not going to listen to my fear. I'm going to hit Wendy's on the way.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it is, let's be real and let's talk about what are we really feeling? What are we scared of? What are we ashamed of?
Yeah.
And I think we need to renew our minds and our hearts and our spirits and our taste buds. We need to renew our minds.
And our
Renew our
taste
taste buds.
Yeah. How would you go about this with older kids? And also, one of the bigger questions was how to deal with other influences that won't support you with the switch. Meaning, like, how do you like, a lot of families are separated. Kids are going back and forth. So if mom were the
That's a
one
really good question.
to do plant-based and eat organic, and then they go to dad's, and then they're totally binging on crap food.
So I would say, so the first question was...
The first question is, how do you go about changing your diet if you have older kids?
Older kids. Okay, older kids. So I almost feel like...
They're a little bit easier. You can toughen up.
No, I almost feel like, well, it should be easier because you can have a conversation with them that they actually understand.
Yeah,
Like, a
we're like
3-year-old
little kids.
is like,
Yeah,
I'm like, you
Avery's
won't
like,
put
where's
this in
my
your
milk?
mouth.
Yeah.
Or you cannot eat.
Yeah.
That is your choice.
Right.
Yeah.
But tomorrow I'm going to put the same thing in front of you.
And we're gonna do it
so
again. Yeah.
you can either grow hungry forever or you can eat the food I made.
Yeah.
Because
And they
that's the
always
way I roll.
choose to eat the food, just
Right.
so you know.
But I would say with older kids, I mean, what we all of us, what we all want to is to belong. We all want to understand each other, and we all are created to connect. So how can you connect with your kids over this? Take them on the journey. Tell them. Watch the documentary together. Say, this is what I'm learning, and I want to share this with you.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm learning.
That is so freeing, because I feel like as parents, we just have this pressure to be know-it-alls. Because,
Performing.
Yeah.
you know, when really, like you're saying, you can learn with your kids. You can
And
do
share and say, I
Yeah.
didn't know this.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to try and
Yeah.
become more aware of my body and
Yeah.
And I feel like you can do that even with the kids that are going to other, like, start talking, take them on the journey with you.
Yeah.
Tell them what you're eating, why you eat it, what it does for your body, and say, I want you to pay attention. And don't put your grandparents or whoever in the doghouse. Just say, I want you to be aware of how your body feels. I want you and be like, I'm doing the same thing. I'm paying attention to how my body feels when I eat this, and when I eat this, and when I eat this. And I'm looking at it, and I'm asking why I want to eat it and what it's going to do for my body. And just trying to ask better questions. And so I feel like you can do that without putting people in the doghouse.
Yeah.
I also feel like you can have permission to be that parent.
Yeah.
You can be that parent.
Well, you get to be the parent.
So, like,
We know.
we know, though. Have the conversations. I give you permission to be that parent. To be the parent that doesn't have junk food all the time. You're not alone in that. I do that. Leslie's doing that. There are lots of people doing that. Your kids long for it, but of course they're not going to verbally tell you that. I mean, which one of, like, I remember in high school, I put on an outfit that I knew my dad was going to be like, no way. But I put it on.
Yeah.
Or I put it on, and I remember thinking, like, I wonder if he'll let me wear this.
You knew.
And I walked downstairs.
Oh
and
my
he was
gosh,
like,
I'm feeling the shame right now of you walking. Like, I just put myself in that story, and I was like, oh, Lord, she's doing it. She's doing it.
I was like, I know. I mean, and my dad was like, nope, you don't get to wear that to church.
And that was him loving you.
Right, and I was mad, but
Yeah.
here's the thing. I remember walking into my room, slamming my door, and I remember a sense of gratefulness.
Yeah.
I remember it was like traumatizing. It was so traumatizing because it was so beautiful, and I so longed for
It's
it.
tangible love.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think don't
that's
be
super
afraid.
cool.
And take the Lord with you. The Lord has not given us a spirit of fear, but of self-control, power,
Sound mind, yeah.
sound mind. You're not doing it alone. You are being the parent that your kids need, and that they so long. And who cares if they don't like you right now?
You're not there to
You're not
get
there
them to like you.
Yeah, we're there to teach them about life and how to eat that they're going to do 3 times a day for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, you're setting them up for sure.
Yeah, like, let's learn together. Let's renew the table, and let's make it sacred, and tell them, I want to spend time with you, and I want to do it while we're eating, because that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Let's eat together.
And I'm always impressed how the kids want to help me. So that was another question too. Like, how long does it take to prep meals? It does. You gotta cut. You gotta chop. But I'm telling you what, my kids and I are having so much fun in the kitchen right now, which is
Give
a
them
beautiful
knives.
thing.
Dude,
I-
Les goes the other day, she says, why is my kitchen always full of dishes? Well, maybe we're using them now.
So what is it like when you go to grandparents? That was another good question of like, hey, what happens when we go to functions out in public, or we have grandparents who are like feeding our
Spoiling
kids
the-
crap out of utter defiance? Some parents do that because they're like, you are
I'm a
so cute.
grandma.
Yeah, I'm a grandma.
Why can't he have a cake?
So yeah, if I could just put in my 2 cents, and then I'd love to hear yours. I would say, like, again, because you have a child, you get the right to parent your children the way that you want to. And I would also invite that question between you and your parents and saying, hey, thank you for raising me the way that you did. Like, that was great, and I'm so thankful for you. And if this is not, some parents, some people, I know me, if people are going to do things the way I do it, I take it personal. But sometimes it's not about me. It's about other humans making choices for their tiny humans. And you can come to the conversation with an open hand and saying, look, I am learning all this information about food, and I'm switching my way of thinking. I know you've always done it this way. This isn't personal on you. This is just a choice I'm making for my family, and it's an important one to me. And you can leave it at that.
You get to choose, and this doesn't have to be a deal breaker, or say, like, okay, have that conversation with your kids. Let your kids, even for Gable is 4, I can say when you're with grandma and grandpa, you get to have one treat. He can give trust to your kids and say, why don't you this weekend be in charge of yourself and have one treat?
No, they love that. My kids thrive on that.
I mean,
they feel so empowered.
They love choices.
And if it gets to the point where you need to have a conversation, have the conversation. Will it be awkward? Yes. Will you maybe lose the relationship? Yes. Will you lose trust? Maybe. Will they think you're a bad parent? Probably. Yes. The answer is yes. But are you willing to train your children in the way that they should go? Are you willing to have the conversations with your kids and say, you get one treat this weekend, just like every weekend, so choose what that is.
Yeah.
Ask grandma and grandpa for a different kind of food. Or if you have McDonald's, pay attention. Tell your kids, pay attention. How do you feel after you eat that? Does it taste good? Gotcha. How does it feel?
Has crack in it.
Right.
I feel great, Mom.
But also, I don't even like the taste anymore because my palate is so cleansed.
Yeah.
Arby's curly fries, yes ma'am. Every time they still taste good. But I can't eat a whole thing anymore. And I can only have it once a year.
Oh man.
Same with Dairy Queen. I have one Blizzard every year.
Oh, so
Oreo Reese's Pieces mixed together. It's like dreamy.
Oreo Blizzard.
But once a year. So I think you can give trust over. You can also have really hard conversations because you're the parent, not someone else. And that's just the way it is. So
let's wrap it up with one last thing here, and let's talk about moms and dads who are feeling weighed down by not purchasing everything organic, and the fear behind that, and engage with that, and then we'll wrap it up with the cost. I would say this: when we first were venturing into this. Changing over our food thing, I'm right with you. I felt every time I went to the supermarket, I knew I was putting chemicals in my kids' bodies. And what I do for a living is I'm a distributor for Young Living, who has like the best essential oils on the planet. And they are all about going chemical free. And so like that whole journey in and of itself you can't unsee and unlearn things about what you're putting into your body, or what you're seeing at the super. Like, you can keep going at the rate you're going, but I'm telling you, eventually you're gonna have to own up to what you're giving your kids. And I felt like
you're giving yourself.
Yes. And when I came to that place, for me, it was a budget thing. It was a time thing. I had to stop and really, again, put value in the table. You are valuable. Your whole family is valuable. You're worth the time. You're worth the effort. You are so much more valuable than you see yourself. And it's okay to feel for a moment that you don't matter, but to live there is not okay. And my hope, and even just doing this as a blog, is to give the invitation to ditch that fear and guilt and trust the fact that you will be provided for. That was a big thing for me, was budget. So I'm right there with you. It is more expensive to go organic. It is more expensive. The process of getting foods, and we talked about this a little bit on text message, was it takes more process for farmers to not put pesticides on their food. It takes them longer. It takes them more tender care to get you good fresh produce. But you're worth saying no to pesticides, and you are worth saying no to processed foods that don't digest in your body. And so if you're having a hard time going to the bathroom, if you're having a hard time thinking in a focused manner, if you just feel bogged down, if you have eczema, if you have anything happening
depression,
in your body, like everything starts in your gut.
I think the other thing is too, not just that you're worth it, but I think that God created us for freedom and for joy and for peace, and when we're saying no thanks, then we're missing out. And yes, it does cost more. Yep. But that also goes back to priorities. It also goes back to what you value. It also goes back to, are you valuing your kids? Are you valuing your husband? Are you valuing your wife?
Is there joy in your life?
Yeah, and are you accessing the freedom that God has given you? Or you're just like, no thanks, we'd rather go to soccer and miss out on that. Because this feeds what, and not saying soccer and sports and stuff is bad. It's not, but when it's replacing what God has,
necessity.
yeah, when it's replacing a necessity, then I do think that you're telling God no, and I think you are, and we're guilty of this.
Oh,
We're
big time.
guilty of saying,
I am the no person all the time.
No thanks, God. I got this.
Like, I got this.
Good. I
I'm
know
better
what's
than
best for my kids.
totally.
Even though you
Me
like
too.
totally designed them, I know
Right.
what's
And me too. And like, I mean, I wore this shirt today. It says "Good things take time."
Nice.
Okay, this is one of my favorite shirts because we're all on a journey, right? Like, God doesn't just rip us out and like it took you guys a year to get to this place.
Yeah.
You guys are hearing this now. You can decide whether you're going to say yes to God now, or whether you're going to keep disobeying, and that is your choice. But there is joy waiting for you on the other side of the fear.
And
My
that
dad
is
always told me,
so good.
wherever there is fear, run as hard as you can into it. Sorry, this makes me cry. Because there is joy set before you on the other side. And so wherever there is fear, run into it, armed with the armor of God, and with your friends, find some people that are close to, or at least will know your story.
Yeah.
Let Leslie and Burris know, this is what I'm going to do this weekend. I'm going to talk with my husband. I'm going to talk with my wife. I'm going to talk to my kids. Can you guys pray over our family?
Yes.
And we will, y'all. Like, we will, and because we want you running into the fear wherever there is fear. They ran head full into it, and there is so much joy set before you. And I have found it to be true in all areas of my life. Wherever there is fear, if I will pray over it, if I will ask the Lord to touch it and for me to run into it, He, without fail, there is joy on the other side. So even with budget, ask Him to provide.
Yes.
Ask Him where
And He
can
will.
I. He will.
Yeah. He will.
Because He's not going to be like, oh, you want to eat better? Sorry, you're just like, don't know what
Yeah.
to do with that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was totally out of the blue. I mean,
Yeah.
I just didn't see that coming. You know, like He's going to provide, and you might have to get your creative pants on. Have a discussion with your kids. Say, like, I want you to live more joyfully, so we're going to cut out some of the things that we're doing so that we can, like, really live joyfully, not only as a family, but when we leave this house.
Yeah.
When we go to that activity, I want you running on all fumes,
Yeah.
with clear mind,
Yeah.
with breath in your lungs,
Yeah.
with a clear throat and glands, and I want you to see well.
Yeah.
There's so much joy, y'all. Like, I think that's my hope, and that's my prayer. That was my prayer going into this, is that you guys would run with us, because we don't like running alone. Run with us into the fear for the joy set before us.
It's good. And then, like, just to top it off, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to say, hey, men, don't medicate. Run straight into the fear.